Hello, my beautiful friends. I am Laurel Bleadon-Maffei with Illuminating Souls, welcoming you to this episode of Sleepy Bedtime Blessings, a podcast designed to help you rest, relax, and fall asleep, all while deepening in your connection with your beautiful team of angels who love you so. If we're meeting for the first time, I am an angelic practitioner, a spiritual teacher, and an encourager of souls. And this means that I have the most wonderful job. I get to connect with you and help you connect with your angels. And I do this through one-on-one angel sessions, soul mentoring, and a variety of classes designed to inspire your spirit. This podcast is born of two of my favorite forms of self-care: connecting with the angels and listening to a sleep podcast each night as I drift off to sleep. I've been using sleep podcasts for years now, and they have become a part of my wellness routine. I love bedtime. I have a wonderful waking life, but I also love getting to go to bed at the end of the day when my body starts to feel tired. And I get to plump up the pillows and pull back the covers and crawl on in. And I snuggle in just right. I sleep with tons of pillows and blankets. And then I pick an episode from one of my several sleep podcasts that I frequent, including this one. And I pick an episode and I put on the sleep timer so that it will stop playing at the end of the episode. And then I listen and eventually drift off. And it has been something I love so much that I was guided to create this podcast for you. As I've shared with you, I love the work that I get to do in the world. It is profoundly heartfelt. And when I'm not sure what to do next, which happens more frequently than you might imagine, I ask this very simple question. That is, how can I love my people? How can I love my people right now? How can I love my people? And it's a question that drops me right into my heart and opens up my connection with spirit and my audience. And I usually get a really beautiful answer. The answers are usually pretty easy to fulfill. You know what the answer almost never ever is? That I should do more marketing. I should have a sales funnel. I should list build. I should, all of these business endeavors that help us grow our businesses. Usually, the guidance is something simple, like making a video, send it out to your people, make a podcast episode so that people can find this love when they need it. And so this podcast in some ways fulfills this desire of how can I show up in loving service for my people. And I hope you have figured out that you, my friend, are part of my people. I don't mean mine in terms of ownership. Of course I do not mean that. But I mean you are part of my community. You are part of my mishpacha, which is a Yiddish word for family. You are part of my soul family. So that even if we haven't met, I feel the ripple of the Illuminating Souls family in the greater expanse of the breath of life. And that when I tune into it, I can almost always receive guidance about how to show up in loving service. And almost always the answer I receive is something that inspires my heart. So the angels and I are here in this moment in loving service for you. That you are precious in this world. And it is truly a blessing to be together with you right now. And the angels are shining love upon you. And if you're not quite sure what to make of the angels, right, there's a lot of ways people describe angels or think of them. I don't have a really clear explanation for you that is based in religion or dogma. I experience the angels as divine, wise, loving, celestial beings. And it is my belief that every molecule of life, of creation, is loved in this universe. Somehow that happens. And the angels are here to support us and love us and help us remember who we are as divine beings in human form. And this podcast is designed to help you connect with this and also to keep you amused, distracted, be a good companion for you as you either go about your day, if you listen during your waking hours, or to help you drift off to sleep if you are listening at bedtime. So whenever you are listening, I am grateful for this time with you. And I invite you to take a nice deep breath in, just allowing the light of the divine to find you now. And just exhale. And if you are in bed, just snuggle on in whatever way works best for you. I create a fortress of pillows. I've done that since I was a child. I love pillows. And I pull the blankets up just so. And then I have to shift around in my body a little bit just to find that exact right position. It's the Laurel version of when a dog circles around and around and around and paws at the bed and then just settles in. They find just the right position. I have my own version of doing that, although it does not require me to circle or stand. But I just kind of shimmy and snuggle until each part of my body is in just the right position. And thank God for these beautiful bodies of ours that allow us to be present in physical world. So take a breath in and allow the angels to send love to your beautiful body. That you have done enough for this day and you have permission to rest. And when I say that, I do not know who's granting you permission. It's not as if there is a permission slip written. I just mean you don't always have to be performing in order to be worthy of rest and love. Give yourself permission to rest and receive. So I'm going to call the angels in to be with us now. They are already here, but I love the ritual of sharing them with you. So beautiful angels on high, I invite you to join us here. And thank you, angels, for creating this beautiful sanctuary where each of us can come and replenish and be reminded of who we are. Angels, I ask that you help each one of our beautiful friends deeply recognize and understand just how precious they are in this world. And angels, I ask that you help to clear our energy fields, clear our bodies of any stress, any worry, any fear that we do not need to hold on to. And I ask that you bring us a lightness of spirit. And dear ones, just breathe, allowing the light to flow to you now. The angels are here and they are infusing the space that you are in with a beautiful, soft, pink light. And this light is filled with love that has been calibrated just for you. The angels know what is transpiring in your life and in your heart. And they come to you now to help ease your burden. They are here to receive your prayers. So allow the prayers to rise up in your heart so that the angels can receive them from you. And this beautiful love and light gracefully ripples to all you love. It fills your home. It is generous and expansive. So allow yourself to breathe in this love, allowing waves of relaxation and healing to move through your body, your mind, and your heart. And just keep breathing. I know you're breathing anyways, but just take in those intentional breaths that allow you to come to center and allow yourself to receive the love that is here for you. This is love that does not need to be earned or reciprocated. It simply exists for you, just like the sunlight does. You don't feel that you have to be worthy of sun or that you have to somehow pay it forward. It is part of the life force of this realm. And so is God's love, the love of your angels, part of the life force of your spirit. So breathe it in, bathe in it. Allow yourself to be present with it. And even as I speak these words, I feel the angels bringing extra waves of love and healing to your body temple. So just allow a wave of relaxation to move through you. Imagine it starting at the top of your head, relaxing your forehead, relaxing the muscles in your face, relaxing your jaw, your throat, and your neck, and your shoulders. Taking a big breath in, allowing your rib cage to expand and relax, relaxing your arms and your fingers, relaxing your belly and your lower back, allowing your upper thighs to relax, and your calves, all the way down to your feet and your toes, so that every cell of your body receives this cascade of love and healing. In human form, it is not always easy to love our bodies, but our bodies are magnificent. And right now, the angels are loving your body temple, bringing love to it now. So just breathe and receive and allow the light to be with you now. And right now the angels are doing some work around your shoulders. So if you are carrying any tightness in your shoulders, in your shoulder blades, just receive the light and the clearing that is happening for you now. And the angels bring forward prayers in your name. They are seeding blessings in your honor. And in this moment, we thank God for the gift of you. This world is better because you are here. And so, dear one, we invite you to rest. And while you rest, the angels will watch over you. And while you rest and drift off, I'm going to tell you a few stories. So for story time, I thought I would share with you some randoms of what's happening in my life right now. So I love this invitation for randoms. I discovered this many years ago in an online community I was a part of before social media happened. And the invitation would be in this forum would be to post 5 randoms about your life. And it could be anything at all. And from the place of storytelling and sharing and journal prompts and things like that, I have found tremendous freedom and joy in going down the random rabbit hole. And so as I was getting ready to record this episode, I thought, you know what? I'm going to just share some randoms with you. These are things I'm working on, things I'm contemplating, some of the stuff I do during the week, just random stuff, random Laurel stuff. That if we were going to meet up and go for a walk or have a meal together, these are some of the things we might talk about. And I promise you the conversation wouldn't be one-sided. I would want to hear your randoms as well But since this is a podcast and I cannot hear you with my ears, only with my heart, I will be the one who does the talking here. But you feel free to share with me in your heart, because I promise you, if we were meeting in person or over Zoom, I would want to know your randoms too. I guess one of my randoms I will share with you, since we're podcast friends, is I am contemplating what to do with this podcast. I love it. I love doing it. I love sending it out into the world. And what I don't do is I don't market it. And so I really think at this point, maybe there are 50 of you who listen on a regular basis, and I think that's a generous number. The cool thing is, I personally know many of you, and I love you, and I love that we get to stay connected this way. But I'm kind of trying to understand and attune to, am I supposed to do more with this? What is it supposed to be? Am I honoring this journey? I don't mean to make that sound so deep, but I'm just not quite sure. And also right now, and this may just be a summer thing, I'm finding it a little more challenging to record 2 episodes a week than it was before. And maybe it's because the weather is nice and I think I'm feeling guided to get out into the world a little more. So I'm contemplating maybe just going to 1 time a week for a little while. I've been posting a few more replays than I had in the past, but I think that's also okay. I think there's a lot of episodes that people haven't heard or haven't heard in a year, and I know when other podcasts post replays, I like it because it might be an episode I hadn't thought of in a while or I slept through. So I would love your feedback. I would love to know, is this podcast serving you? What are some of your favorite episodes? Is twice a week working for you? Just feel free to reach out, drop me an email. And also, I would love it if you would leave a rating or review on iTunes or share about the podcast with friends. Maybe we can get a little bit of a ripple happening. So that's one of my randoms. It's podcast related. So at this point, I'm still going to be posting twice a week. I post on Sundays and Wednesdays. Over the next few weeks, I do have some social engagements planned, and so I may be posting 1 replay a week and 1 new episode. So if that happens, no worries. Just so you know, I'll be back to twice a week soon, and I may do twice a week. I don't know right now. I guess that's my random. I don't know. And it's okay not to know. I am not a good planner. I really am not. I find that when I have plans, I get anxious. I like having no plans and just being spontaneous. And so we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. But at this point, I will post an episode on Sunday and on Wednesdays. I just don't know yet if they will both be new or if one of them will be a replay. But I will continue being here for you. The other creative project I'm working on is an oracle deck, which some of you know about. And I'm so excited about it. I started working on it a few months ago. I discovered the joys of Midjourney, which is incredible. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, it is AI created artwork. And it feels like I've been working on this oracle card deck forever, and it's iterative in some ways. Like I had the first version done and I sent it to the printer, so I got my first proof deck back and I needed to make some changes. But I've also been using it for readings because I want to see how it works. And the readings are gorgeous. But I want to add more cards to the deck. I've decided that I really want the decks to be even more robust. At this point, it has 55 cards in it. And I may make it a 70 card deck, I think. Why not? And I'm learning a lot as I go. And I'm discerning how I want to bring this into the world. And perhaps I can share with you a little bit about that, share with you my process, and maybe it'll be helpful for you. One of the essential questions I find I have to ask myself these days about anything is, what am I willing to show up for? I find for whatever reason, right? It might be the world, the past 3 years. It might be my age. It might be my hormones. It might be, I don't know. But I don't have the creation energy I once did. You know, throughout my life, I've been pretty driven, and not driven in assertiveness. I mean, I've had dreams and I've gone for them, and I wouldn't say I've pushed myself because it didn't feel like pushing. It felt like this authentic rhythm to my life. And these days, the word that I use to describe how I feel is I'm deeply contented. Contentment is so underrated. Contentment is like, you know, I go through the day and I'm like, yeah, I don't need to do anything. I'm good. Right? I don't have to achieve anything. I don't have to strive for anything. I don't have to prove myself. I don't have to earn my goodness in the world. I'm deeply contented. I have a life that I love. Illuminating Souls continues to blossom. Right? I offer classes and beautiful people show up and people book angel sessions, and there's this podcast, and I'm so contented. I don't necessarily feel this drive to do or be more. And so part of what I've had to reconcile is there is a gap between my vision and my desire of what I want to do and what I'm willing to do. Right? Like, I may have the best of intentions of bringing out something with all the bells and whistles. Like, of course that's what I want to do. But then I have to really make peace with the reality that the Laurel that I am right now isn't going to show up for those things. So I want to share with you how that works in real time with this oracle deck. So I have come of age with the Hay House Oracle decks being the industry standard. So the cards are 3.5 by 5 inches in size. They come in the rigid 2-piece box. You might not know that it was called a rigid 2-piece box, but I have since learned that. The cards often are coated. They're printed on a high quality paper stock. And they last for years. They're beautiful. Sometimes they have the metallic edging on the card. And so over the years, I've dreamed of creating an oracle deck, and I always, in my mind, had the Hay House deck as the industry standard. Well, I've since discovered that to create that deck, there would be a lot of things I would have to do. So first off, I would have to self-publish, which means I would have to purchase to print the decks and then keep the inventory somewhere, whether it's in my garage or whether I ship them off to Amazon for fulfillment. But I would have to invest money in printing these decks. Now, that's not a terrible thing. A lot of people do that, and financially I could do that if I needed to. But here's the thing. If I have to print 500 decks, that means that I would feel obligated to sell 500 decks. And honestly, I do not want to sell anything. I do not want to feel the pressure or the attachment to whether or not people purchase this. I just want to offer it into the world. So vibrationally, that's where I'm at. The other thing is that there are some other options, but also printing that quality of deck at the level at which I would print it would be quite expensive, and it would be very difficult for me to sell you the deck for less than $40 or $50 a deck. And with that, it doesn't mean I'm making oodles of money. It means to print a small quantity of those kinds of cards would cost me between $30 and $35, just my cost in printing them. And I don't want to create a deck that will cost you a ton of money. I also don't want to have to fulfill the orders. So I don't want to have to think about, do I have to charge sales tax? Do I have to run to the post office 3 times a week and pack these up? Do I have to go into my accounting system and track cost of goods sold versus what I was paid versus the sales tax? I just don't have the bandwidth for that. So those options are off the table. So the 2 options that I have are 2 different companies that offer digital print on demand, which means I create the deck and I upload it to the company, and then I tell you about it, and you go to the company and place the order with them, and then they print the cards for you and send them to you. So I'm hands off once the card file is uploaded to the company and approved. Now, this is great news because it gets me past the part of myself that doesn't want to do fulfillment and that doesn't want to have to keep 500 decks in my garage or at Amazon for fulfillment. But the thing is that the cards themselves are not necessarily the size nor the quality I've been used to. So the one company that I am going to be working with, they don't offer 3.5 by 5 inch cards. They offer the traditional tarot card size, which is thinner. So the cards are still really beautiful, but they're a little different than what I'm used to. And this company doesn't offer the 2-piece rigid box. They offer a different kind of, it's called a tuck box. See all this stuff I'm learning? And so that's what I'm going to go with. There is another option. There is another company that does print on demand. I could do the tarot size box, or I can do a bigger size card. And they do have the rigid box, but my cost for that would be $32. And so with fulfillment and everything, we're probably looking at that deck costing you at least $40 to $45. And I may make that available because I don't necessarily have any skin in the game in terms of having to buy them ahead of time. But I'm going to start off with the simpler approach. And I'm also going to be doing something called the mini deck. And there are these tiny angel cards, which are darling, that you can throw in your bag, put into an Altoids box or something, an Altoids tin. And so that's what I'm working on. But I thought I would kind of, in terms of the spirit of randoms, share with you a little bit about this process I'm going through, about what am I willing to show up for. Like, I love the idea of having a Hay House quality oracle deck for you. But the reality is, I'm not in a place to show up and implement that. I'm not up for all the moving pieces that would require of me. And I just thought I would be upfront with you about that, because maybe this is going to help you attune to something you're trying to move forward with. Like, we have permission to move forward in ways that are in alignment for us. So I'm delighted about my oracle deck, so excited about it. I am designing some new cards for it, and I hope to be able to offer this to you by July. So stay tuned. A gorgeous oracle deck is coming your way, and I'm doing my best to make it economical so that it's easily affordable and that you can order it easily. So yay for new energy and new creative projects. So that's my second random. The first was about the podcast. The second is about the oracle cards. Okay, let's move on to some more Earth Girl randoms. So the two that I talked to you about already had to do with illuminating souls and my business. Now let's just kind of talk Earth Girl stuff. So I have been having this deep love affair with audiobooks lately. I hadn't listened to audiobooks before. I mean maybe once or twice, but they hadn't really been my thing. And last year, I was on a family Zoom and my cousin was talking about how much he loves his audiobooks. And I thought, well, maybe I should give them a try, because when I'm in the car, I had been listening to Sirius XM and whatever would be on at that point, and nothing I was terribly engaged in, but I like to have something playing. And Sirius XM, I think I was paying $70 a year, which isn't a lot, but I wasn't really enjoying it. And through our local library, probably yours as well, I can easily download audiobooks. So I started listening to audiobooks, and I have fallen in love with them. I thought audiobooks was just somebody reading the story, but it's really a narrator who invokes emotion and different characters into the audiobook. And I have fallen in love. So I think the first audiobook that really got me hooked was one of the Outlander books, one of the later Outlander books. Now, I've read all of the Outlander books. I read them before it was the Stars series, and I love them. And I've watched the Stars series. And a friend of mine said, the audiobooks are even better, which is hard to believe. But the Outlander audiobooks are narrated by Davina Porter, and she's incredible. And the audiobooks are like 40 to 50 hours long. I mean, it's a lot of material. And so what I loved about them is when I would do my shopping, I can be in the car for an hour or two in my weekly forays as I go to the grocery store and run my errands. I would get immersed into the world of Outlander, and I loved it. So I started off with 2 of the later Outlander books. I haven't listened to the early ones. The first Outlander book is wonderful, but it is also profoundly graphic in terms of violence, and I don't think I could handle listening to it. But the later ones I loved. So I listened to those, And then I listened to this beautiful book called The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek, which I fell in love with. It's about a pack horse librarian in the Appalachians in the 1930s, and such a beautiful book. And I've been listening to a lot of others. And I've recently come into this love affair with Audible, which is an Amazon company. And I belong to a few different Audible communities, on social media. And everybody is saying the best audiobook ever is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, narrated by Ray Porter. And you can't get this at your library. You have to purchase it from Audible. And it is incredible. They are right. It is one of the best audiobooks ever. And it was so good that I wish I could listen to it again. It's science fiction, and it's wonderful. And so I have this love affair going now with audiobooks, and I listen to them in the car, and I'll also sometimes listen to them in the evening if Wes and I aren't watching a television show together. If he's doing his fill of Andy Griffith or Perry Mason, I'll put in my earbuds and listen to an audiobook while I crochet. So, 2 thumbs up for audiobooks, and I love them. Speaking of crocheting, you might not know this, but I crochet. My mom taught me when I was 8 years old, and this will officially be my 4th random. So we're keeping score. My mom taught me when I was 8 years old, and I have crocheted blankets and knitted blankets throughout the years, and then I left it for a long, long time. And over the pandemic, I picked it up again. As most of you know, I had weight loss surgery in July of 2020, which has been great for me. Love it. Very happy with it. And one of the things they often talk about is to be mindful, because you might have a transfer addiction. Like if you can't be focused on food, you might get focused on something else. And when they speak of this, they're really speaking of things like alcohol addiction and things like that. But I got a yarn addiction. I get really obsessed with things, and I need to binge them. And I saw these TikToks where people were talking about their yarn stashes. In the past, I would buy the yarn I needed for a project, and then I would be done. And maybe I would put the leftovers somewhere. But somewhere towards the end of 2020, I discovered about yarn stashes, and that people would buy yarn to keep for the future. And it's like, wow, I could have had a V8. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know I was allowed to do that, as if somewhere there is a written rule book. And I became obsessed with yarn and buying yarn and all the favorite colors. It was like a feast of colors and textures. And I started making prayer shawls and prayer blankets for people, and loving this process of imbuing love and prayers into a blanket or a shawl that I'm making for someone. And I have easily made, 60, 70 blankets and shawls maybe since then. And I have huge plastic tubs filled with yarn. My office now, let's see, how many tubs do I have? Hold on, I'll tell you. Okay, I must have 15 tubs of yarn. Most of them are in my office, stacked strategically. Others are in the garage. And then I also have several tubs filled with blankets. What's really sweet is my husband gets attached to the blankets. He likes the blankets to be huge and heavy. So I have stacks of blankets, and I've just ordered a bunch of yarn because one of my favorite yarns is being discontinued and it's on sale and it's really cheap. And I bought a bunch of it. So more blankets to be crocheted, and it soothes me. I love it. It's the rhythm of creation just delights me. So I guess that would be my fourth random, right? So we had the podcast, the oracle cards, the audiobooks, and now crocheting. Another thing that I'm loving is watching Korean dramas on Netflix. Now, I'd heard people talk about Korean dramas, or K-dramas, as they're called. And I just thought they were like just regular programming, but in Korean, right? It's sort of like we watch stuff from the BBC, right? We watch stuff from Canada. But Korean dramas are like their own thing. They're their own genre, and there's genres within the genre, but there is a rhythm to them. There is a character development, a plot development to them that is so beautiful. Like, I didn't know this about them. And the first one we ever watched was last year sometime. Wes and I watched Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Something about the description I thought was interesting. And it was available dubbed, because I hadn't yet shifted into watching with subtitles. But the dubbing was great. And we loved the series, and so we watched that, and it was dubbed. And we really enjoyed it, again, because of the rhythm of the plots and the character development, and there's a warmth of community and family that's just beautiful. And then we found our way to Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha, which has got to be one of my favorite series that I have watched in years, no matter what country it was created in. And we watched that one dubbed as well. Really, if you are looking for one of the sweetest, loveliest series to watch, Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha on Netflix. The music is phenomenal. The characters are wonderful. It will warm your heart. I promise. So that was the second one we watched. Then we watched Mr. Queen, which is fantastic, and that one we watched with subtitles. It's a great plot. So this guy, he is a modern day, very successful, famous chef. Like, he's attractive, he's arrogant, sort of modern day success story. And he gets in an accident and he somehow time travels back into the body of the queen of the king of Korea. So somehow their souls switch places, which is why it's called Mr. Queen, because his soul is in the queen's body, which is a phenomenal premise. It was so good and funny and poignant, and that was, I think, one of the first ones we watched with the subtitles. And one of the reasons I hadn't really wanted to watch with subtitles is because I crochet when I watch television. But I have discovered that I can multitask. I can actually crochet and read the subtitles. Yay! New life skill attained at the age of 61. So, 60 probably, because I was 60 when I figured out I could do that. Not that that matters. And then we watched Crash Course in Romance, which was wonderful. And then we watched, I think it was The Startup, which was great. And now we're starting to watch Dr. Cha. So 2 thumbs up on Korean dramas on Netflix. And if you haven't ever watched one, tune into one of those that I just shared with you. And I think you're going to be delighted. It may take you an episode or two to get into them, but once you kind of surrender into the rhythm and the development of the plot and the characters, you'll love them. So that's a new love of mine and Wes's as well. We really enjoy our Korean dramas these days. And then I owe you, let's see, how many was that? We have oracle cards, podcast, audiobooks, K-dramas, crocheting. That's 5. So good, I did 5. And I'll give you one more, because why not? So today's my grocery store day. And I go to the grocery store at least twice a week. But I go to different stores. You know how some people don't like grocery store shopping and they're just incredibly efficient? I also know in other parts of the world, you might just do a little bit of shopping each day. Here in the US, for me at least, I buy a lot of things at once. So I'll buy our week's supplies, but I'll do it over 2 days. And we're only 2 people. It's not like it's a lot. But I'm very particular about what I want. That cannot possibly surprise you, right? I'm a foodie. And I have this obsession with wanting certain things from certain stores. Now, fortunately, I'm the one who does our grocery shopping, so I'm not tormenting anyone else with my idiosyncrasies about grocery shopping. But let me just kind of run it down for you, what falls in my weekly endeavors. There's always at least one trip to Costco because I get my salad fixings there. I get salad fixings at Trader Joe's as well, but I get the big bins of spinach and I get the Taylor Mediterranean bagged salad there. I also, if the grapes are good, I might get grapes there and bananas. And I might get some other things. Fortunately, Costco is easy for us here because there's one just 2 miles away and I can actually go there versus the LA Costcos, which were always profoundly crowded. And I try to only go to Costco when they open at 9 in the morning. And I will get my gas there as well, which is what I'm going to do this morning. Then I will either go up to Napa, and if I go to Napa, I will hit up Whole Foods because there are some things I only get there, and something I love, the Whole Foods in Napa at their cheese section has this little basket of little bits of cheese, you know, when they're cutting the cheese, if there's a little bit left over of something. So you can buy little tidbits of cheese so you can sample different things. I love this because I'm the only one who eats that kind of cheese in our house, and I do not need big blocks of cheese because I don't eat that much and they'll mold. So one of the things I love about going to the Whole Foods in Napa is the bucket or basket of little bits of cheese, and I always love to see if there's something that will be good there. They also have my favorite cottage cheese there. So Whole Foods. And if I don't go to Whole Foods, well, first off, let's keep on with the Napa run. So I start off at Costco in Vallejo. I get my gas and my salad fixings. And then I go up 29 to Napa, which is about 20 miles. And then I hit up Whole Foods, and right next to it is a Trader Joe's. And at Trader Joe's, I get more salad fixings because I make a ginormous salad for myself several times a week. And to me, I have to have a lot of variety. And I don't like to cut things up, so I try to get things that are already chopped. So Trader Joe's, I go and I get my salad fixings. Now, this time of year, I don't know when they're coming out, but hopefully soon they will have Sugar Kiss cantaloupes. And when they do, I will be buying those. I sometimes get the watermelon there. And I also get some other things. But I really go for the produce because I can only get it there. And the crunchy curlies, yum, those lentil snacks, delicious. And other crunchy bits that I love to get. And dried fruit. And this yummy garlic eggplant spread that I put on sandwiches. So Trader Joe's, always have to go to Trader Joe's at least once a week. And then I hit up Rayleigh's, which is one of our general supermarkets, because they have the best sourdough bread. And yes, both Trader Joe's and Whole Foods also have sourdough bread, but I like the sourdough bread from Rayleigh's. So I go to Rayleigh's once a week to get their sourdough bread. This is what I mean. Like, I'm mashugana. I'm crazy of having to go to specific stores. And then I stop at Walmart because they have the best price on my cashew milk and on the sourdough bread that I love. And then, depending on what Safeway has on sale, I might go there because they might have Wes's cereal on sale there. So that's all part of the mix. Now, if I don't go to Whole Foods, my other option is to go up to Berkeley and go to Berkeley Bowl. I love Berkeley Bowl. It is an amazing, independent, produce-centric supermarket. So there's many things I love about Berkeley Bowl this time of year as the summer fruit comes up, and they do have the Sugar Kiss cantaloupes already. I have purchased 3 of them so far, and they're amazing. But the other thing was, in the month of May, Berkeley Bowl, well, they always have a hot food bar at Berkeley Bowl. I love when places have prepared food for me because I don't like to cook. And on Thursdays, their menu was, they had like these pad thai noodles, which I loved. They were delicious, with this yellow curry, this vegetable yellow curry. And so I could get this big container of it for $9.99, which I thought was a good deal. I don't eat a lot these days, so that would easily cover Wes and I for a few meals. So my ritual for the past few weeks has been on Thursdays to go up to Berkeley, get the hot bar, pad thai, yellow curry deliciousness, and whatever fruit was in season, and whatever else we needed. And then on the way back, I would hit the Trader Joe's in Pinole, and then the Rayleigh's in Benicia, and come home. So a little more driving, but totally worth it. And I'm a little bit obsessed. I'm a lot obsessed with sliver pizza. So those of you who are in the Berkeley area, you're going to know about this geniusness. So there's a place in Berkeley called the Cheese Board Collective. And they serve vegetarian pizza, and they would serve one kind of pizza a day. So you couldn't just come in and order whatever you wanted. It was a pre-created menu, and you could buy a piece of pizza. And whenever you buy a piece of pizza, they give you an extra sliver. Now, this is just freaking genius. Not only do I get a piece of pizza, I get an extra sliver, like a half a slice of pizza. I love this. It's like, but wait, there's more. So that's the Cheese Board Collective. But when the pandemic happened, they stopped opening up for hot pizza during the day, which is when I shop. But in the meanwhile, this other restaurant opened called Sliver Pizza, which is because they took that model. of having one kind of vegetarian pizza a day, where you buy a slice and you get a sliver. So on a good day, the sliver that I like to go to on Telegraph in Berkeley would have the kind of pizza I liked, because I don't like all of the flavors that they do. So I would get to go to the hot bar in Berkeley and get good produce and go to Sliver Pizza and get my slice and a sliver. And then on the way back, hit Trader Joe's. So you can see how this is like a whole endeavor. This takes up easily one of the days of my week. But I don't have any food issues. No, not at all. But what I have discovered in terms of my well-being and my bariatric surgery is I live within a subset of rules that work for me. I get little bits of the things that I like. There are whole lots of foods I will not eat. So the thing that has me messed up right now is Berkeley Bowl. They change their menu each month, and my favorite meal of the pad thai noodles and the yellow curry is now going to be offered on Saturdays. I don't like going to Berkeley Bowl on Saturdays. It's busy. It's so busy. And they don't open their hot bar until like 10:30 or 11. So I can't even just get there early to get in and get out. I would have to be in Berkeley sort of at the height of the shopping morning, which does not delight me. So I may need to forego my favorite dish for a few weeks, which means that today I will likely head up to Napa. My other option is to head towards Fairfield, which is another 20 miles away, and do a loop of the Costco and Trader Joe's and Walmart and Raley's up there. But then I miss out on Whole Foods, and the foodie in me either wants to get to go to Berkeley Bowl or Whole Foods. And so that is likely my plan for today. Record this podcast for you. Check. Done. I'm going to go have my beautiful green smoothie for breakfast, because I only can drink that after I record this podcast, because otherwise I pick up all kinds of stomach noises, which you don't want to hear. I promise you don't. And then I'm going to get on the treadmill for a little bit, and then I'm going to go run my errands and listen to an audiobook and have a delicious day. But you're going to sleep, so you drift off and you sleep and you rest and you replenish. And you know that you are a blessing here on this earth, and I am grateful for you. And thank you for letting me just ramble some randoms to you. Just a little insight to the rhythm of my life. Not that it's terribly interesting, but it's very human, right? You have your own version of that. How you go grocery shopping and what stores you go to and why you go there and what shows you pick to watch on television. It's something we can all relate to with each other, right? And I'm so grateful that I have the resources to have Netflix and go grocery shopping. I feel very, very, very blessed. And I send these blessings to you as well. So I love you very much. You rest well, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.